Today I'm going to talk to you about the 3 things that you need to do to become an aesthetic injector. The first thing that you need to do is you need to have the appropriate licensing for your state. In California, the minimum requirement is registered nurse. So you can be an RN, a PA, NP, or physician. The requirements to become a registered nurse is a minimum of a 2-year associate's degree program with 2 years of prerequisites, or 4 years bachelor program. Nurse practitioner, it takes about 6 years, and physician, many years. Once it's been established that you have the minimum licensure to become an aesthetic injector, the next thing you need is to be certified. The reason that you need to be certified is for medical insurance to be able to cover you. That certification doesn't have minimum standards in most states that I'm aware of, so it could be as simple as an online 1-hour certification class. Yes, you heard me correctly. Just a 1-hour online certification class will have you covered and have you protected from their nursing board. Is that enough? No, it's not. So it's up to you to become a safe injector in order to treat your patients. Half of the training is knowing when you're ready to be on your own. There are certain practices that will allow you to come in and train you on perhaps a simple laser procedure. And when I say simple, laser does have a lot of risks, and there are a lot of lawsuits associated to overtreating patients. So even when I say simple, it's not all that simple, but it's easier to learn a specific laser treatment and then grow into injectables. So there are some practices that will train you on 1 or 2 laser treatments, and you do laser treatments as you're slowly adding on trainings to become an aesthetic injector. And then after a period of time and enough trainings, and you feel very competent and your preceptor feels very competent, or your mentor, then together you guys can collaborate and decide when you're ready to go out and inject on your own. The reason that that's so important is because there are potential risks in these treatments, and you want to make sure that you have enough information to be able to protect your patient. And that also means protecting your license. Our industry is not well regulated, and a minimum certification does not mean much. It's up to you to make sure that you're well educated and you understand the risks involved, and that you have enough training before you go out on your own and start treating patients. If you think about that, hospitals, when you go and train in a certain specialty, whether you're going to the emergency room, even med-surg, labor and delivery, you're training under a mentor for months before you're completely on your own, right? Well, the same thing should be happening in the aesthetic industry. Protect yourself. Don't go into a practice that will let you do 1 training and then leave you on your own. That's not the best place to be. The third thing that I want you to know in terms of becoming an aesthetic injector is you'll need to find a place that will hire you. Once you're certified, you may be covered legally, but if you're not proficient enough, a lot of offices may not want you. And that can be really hard. There are some out-of-the-box types of ways to get your foot in the door. One of them is offering to intern in their office and be a support person. You may be there recording their treatments for them, or rooming patients, taking pictures and things like that. Be an intern, but a helpful intern. If you can bring value to that practice, they're more likely to say yes to you. And then eventually, if they have a need at that time, you may be hired by that company. Another way to join the practice is to be hired on with a lower classification, like a medical assistant, or come on in a very limited fashion, perhaps just doing laser treatment like I mentioned. What I don't recommend, and I see this in the chats all the time, is injectors haven't found a job and they feel frustrated, so they've went ahead and rented a salon suite or some sort of shared room situation where they can inject patients because they haven't found a place that will hire them. Understand that you're putting patient safety at risk if you do this. There are so many variables in terms of patient safety, what's an appropriate patient for this treatment, and what could potentially go wrong. If a patient has an adverse outcome, who is going to treat that patient? If you don't have enough layers in place within your practice, and you put a patient at risk, where are they going to go? Make sure you're going into an established practice that can provide you enough clinical support if something goes wrong. And also, you have those layers in place to help you keep patients safe. So number one, know the laws in your state and make sure you have a minimum license to be able to provide injectable treatments. Number two, the minimum standard is a simple online training. My recommendation is to make sure you get enough clinical training to both protect the patient and protect yourself and your license. And number three is getting a job in the field. It's not an easy feat. You can do it. Just keep trying, keep applying, and think of out-of-the-box ways to help get your foot into the door into a reputable aesthetic practice.